Well, good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams show. We've been talking about this for the last several weeks, the Working Women show coming up at the St. Charles Convention Center, February 16th through the 18th. And I've been mentioning to you that we want you to come. I would really like for you to be there all weekend long if you can. If not, if you buy just one day, I would say Saturday is your pick day. Why is that? Well, because you're going to get a lot of inspiration as you will all weekend long. But on the main stage, as we've been mentioning, Alison Arngrim, who you remember as Nellie Oleson from Little House on the Prairie, she'll be taking the main stage. And right before she speaks, a lot of you have asked, hey, Monica, when you're in town speaking again, when can I come to see you? Well, this is it. I was in Kansas City. I was in Springfield over the last few months. This one's in St. Louis, in the St. Charles area. And I'm going to be speaking, talking about knowing your value, talking about inspiration, talking about how we need more positivity. And the way I end every show, talking about having more kindness to each and every person that you come in contact with. Well, that will be right before I get the opportunity and the blessing to bring on Allison. I'm going to talk about all the things I remember when I was growing up watching Little House on the Prairie. And one thing in particular that I told her I have a surprise for her, which is actually one of the reasons that I started watching Little House on the Prairie. One of my neighbors, I think, or somebody from church said, you have to watch this show because now some of you already know the reason, but I'm going to surprise Allison with it. And this is Allison today. Look how beautiful she is. She is a beautiful spirit. And she, for so many levels of things that she's going to talk about today that you might be able to see in your own life. And that's really what I always enjoy doing on this show is putting the message out there and having you say, wow, that sounds like me. How did she overcome this? How did she overcome that? And then that's the inspiration for you to know that you can overcome, that you can move forward, that you can be the person that you've always wanted to be. So we're going to talk to her about her life growing up, the early stages of getting into acting. And does that rob you of your childhood? How different is it to have all the limelight on you in Hollywood? We'll also talk about a rough upbringing that she had. We'll talk about her book, her one-woman show, so much. And we're going to do all the memories of Little House on the Prairie. Nellie Oleson, but she is Alison Arngrim. We're going to talk with her when we return. Invida Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Invida isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Invida can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Invida take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online InvidaHealthAndWellness.com. Welcome back once again. Thank you so much for joining in today. And if you're a brand new listener or viewer, we really appreciate it. Remember to please share and like and follow our stream. We are on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram, and the platforms just keep growing and growing. Why is that? Because we want to spread the positivity to the masses. And a woman that's going to do that with me, I'm looking forward to meeting her in person, but today we get a chance to meet her before she comes into St. Charles for the Working Women Show, February 16th, 17th, and 18th. And we have some really cool things coming up for you in order to get you there. Let me bring her on. Alison Arngrim, so pleased to see you, and thank you for doing the show.
I love it. I'm on this great. I'm on a big TV. Hello.
Isn't that cool? That's exactly how they were back then.
This is like when the show first aired in 74. We're having our 50th anniversary. It was on a big TV, much like this. And you had to get up and cross the room to change the channel.
That's right. Click, 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 click through all the static. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to see you. And I can't wait to meet you in person. You were what, 11 years old when this all started for you, your acting career?
I was 11, just about turned 12. And I read for, it's so crazy because I was auditioning for everything. I've been working as a child actor since I was like 5. So I had read for the parts of Laura and Mary, which is kind of hilarious. I'm glad I didn't get those. You imagine? He's like, oh no.
You could have pulled them all off.
And then they did the pilot, and then I come back to read again. I'm like, how many people are on this show? I had no idea, and I didn't know there was a Nellie Oleson. And I come in, I read the part, and I was hired on the spot, which I always said is either a testament to my acting or I have some sort of personality disorder. I'm really not sure. But yeah, I got on Little 12. So yeah, I'm 62 now. It's shocking. Where did the time go? Where did it go?
I was
It's a
just gonna
blur.
say, so 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie. I
Yes.
mean, just trying to wrap your brain around that. But sometimes does it feel like, oh yeah, it feels like 50 years, and then other times feels like it was just yesterday?
Oh, very often. I mean, I was just talking to Dean Butler, our lovely Almanzo, the other day, and we're like, it's a blur. Like, where did the time go? We just kind of went whoosh. And on the one hand, it's just like it just completely went whoosh because like 5 minutes ago, I don't know, I was 37 and we were to it's just what happened. And then the other, it feels like about 100. We're like, oh my god, this thing is it's still on. They're still watching it, and that's the thing is we joke about it because how are they still watching it? But Michael Landon knew. Michael Landon knew. He told Melissa Gilbert and he told Dean Butler and he told several other people. Walked through the set and he said, long after we're gone, they're still going to be watching this. They're going to watch this years from now. And there's going to be reruns after you and I are long gone. They're still on TV and they're still going to be watching this show. And everyone went, that's nice. Went, oh, he's crazy. Well, because of the way with TV. It was the 70s. We didn't have cable
Right.
yet, let
Right.
alone a DVD or a Blu-ray or streaming. None of that existed. There was just regular reruns, and we're like, why would that still be? No, that makes no sense. And it wasn't seen as. I mean, we were a hit. We had 40 million viewers, but the critics, the Emmys, we weren't seen as one of those shows where like, yeah, we're lucky we ran this long, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about. And we were like thrilled that it went, as many years as it did. And we were like, what is he talking about? I mean, I guess it seems popular in reruns. We had no concept that they would invent cable and then the DVD and the VHS and the Blu-ray and the streaming, and that Little House on the Prairie of all the shows from the 70s would be so popular in all of these other formats. I had no idea. No idea.
Why do you? So I'll tell you, my husband still to this day watches it. He works with the St. Louis County Police. So you think about what they go through in their life and what they see, what they experience.
Oh, yeah.
He loves to come home and what he calls the simpler time. He likes to watch Little House on the Prairie and Leave It to Beaver. All these where he says it was the genuine aspect of society, kinder society, or at least it had the appearance of it. Do you think that's why it's so popular still 50 years
Yeah,
later?
it's one of the things, man. Absolutely, I do hear from a lot of people in extraordinarily high stress occupations. High stress say, "Oh yeah, I get home, I'm watching Little House on the Prairie." That is absolutely a thing, and I think it's because it's all over the world. It's in 140 countries. This is
Oh my
mind
gosh.
blowing. And I think what I hear from people from other countries, they go, well, we can identify with this. The problems of the Ingalls are the problems of the whole world. These are problems everyone deals with.
Yep.
And many people have said, look, most of us in the world, we're not living like those people back on Dynasty in Dallas and Friends and
No.
giant apartments. We got a little house and maybe 2 rooms and a lot of kids. We got a Mrs. Olson at her job. We've all got a Nellie at her school. We all know. And so people get it. They get it. But yes, I've talked to a lot of people who were just like, prosecutors and worked in courtrooms. Are like, I had to watch 2 episodes before my last trial. Yeah, it's absolutely high stress occupation. People are all watching Little House on the Prairie.
See?
Absolutely.
If you're just tuning in, again, it's the Real Monica Adams Show, and we are visiting with Alison Arngrim, who played Nellie Oleson on Little House on the Prairie. Okay, you just brought up his name, so this is my surprise to you, and this is why we started watching. So the man on the right, she's going to recognize. The man on the left is the one who could have been his doppelganger. That is my father, Allison.
Oh,
On the left. Can
wow.
you believe that?
Is he related?
No, but you would think so, right?
Well,
I
wait,
mean,
is he from New Jersey? We don't
no,
know because
right?
Michael's from New Jersey. They cousins? We don't.
Can you believe it? No, but they could have been. I mean, obviously, no one talked about doppelgangers back
Look
then.
at that
But
smile. Okay,
right?
yeah.
I couldn't find the pictures where his hair was longer like that. But
Right.
my entire growing up is Michael Landon your dad?
Well, this is if Michael Landon had left show business and decided to just get a nice straight job and become like an accountant and cut off his hair and put on a suit. So I'm just gonna go to the office. I can't deal. That then he would look like that. Yeah.
We're going back 50 years. Can you believe it? 50 years, Little House on the Prairie. Take me back as we look at some of these slides through these memories. I mean, again, you mentioned that you had read. I didn't know that you had read not just for Nellie, but could we have seen you as Laura? No.
No. I did a movie when I was 10 years old. It's called Throw Out the Anchor. Very cute, silly movie. Okay, it's not very good. I'm pretty good in it. I don't know if I was 10. But people who've seen it go, but you're such a nice little girl in this movie. Maybe you should have been Lorimer. You're very sweet in this movie. What went wrong?
She became the bully. All right, we're looking at these pictures. This is going to bring you back to your youth. Or again, if you're watching it now, you'll be like, oh, I just saw that episode. So
Right.
the bully, was it hard for you to pull off?
See, if I had any sense, I'd say yes. It was so difficult because it's not me. Oh yeah, I
It's
go.
a stretch.
But no, it was so much fun. It was so relaxing. It was to say it was easy. It sounds crazy, but there's something freeing about releasing all the negative emotions. Just going, well, here's a safe place to dump all this.
Yeah.
Blah. And Little House was the ultimate safe space. Here was this character who was so angry and put out. And I mean, well, her mother was Mrs. Olson. I mean, what honestly do you expect? And here I had all this teenage angst and all my rage and all my problems. And it's like, well, here we got you a part where we want you to yell at people and throw things and break things and take a swing occasionally. And I'm like, really? um, People asked my mother, they said, "Oh my God, what is she like? What is she like at home?" And my mother said, "It's all out of her system. She's great. She comes home, takes a nap." It's like, I would come home and be like,
That's a
"Oh,
good
yeah."
question. That's a very good question. No kidding. Like when you came home from that, did you get it all out of you that you were always sweet at home?
I'd come home and go, "Wow, that was great. Yeah, I gotta lie down for a while." The craziest example was I was in high school. I was like still doing the show. I've been doing it for a while, and they had a health fair at the school, Hollywood High, and they had all these different booths. And one of them was a booth where these two women were talking about meditation and the health benefits and lowering your blood pressure and all that. And so I said, "Oh, cool!" And they were checking everyone's blood pressure. They were doing that at the health fair too. That you could sign up for all kinds of things, and they would say, "Well, and there were teenagers who, well, LA people that I don't know what they were eating or what they were doing. They're all terrible. They had high blood pressure at 17. It's like, oh, what are you doing? But I went, I checked my blood pressure and they went, whoa. I said, what? And they went, do you meditate? I went, well, not recently. What? They said, have you been doing meditation for a while because your blood pressure and your heart rate are like amazing? And I said, oh, well, it's sort of like meditation. I have this really great job. I scream at people and insult them and throw vases across the room. Something about it is just getting all the negative stuff and toxins like out of my body, and I'm just so relaxed at the end of the day. And they like looked at me like I was out of my mind, but they went, "It's working. Okay, whatever you're doing,
Keep
whatever
it
you're
up."
doing, great. Apparently, this is some kind of Zen thing that you found in this character."
That's funny. So there was the meditation 50 years ago that we're all talking about now.
Still, I'm 62 and I go to the doctor and I have to watch out for cholesterol and my age there's bone things, but boy, my heart rate and blood pressure are great. There's, yeah.
Home. I screamed in the
Let me
morning.
throw
I'm better
something.
in the evening.
Yeah,
So
right.
we've got some slides here. So do you play the piano? Because here you are playing the piano back then.
No, not at all.
Can you play
I
anything?
think what
Two
I was thinking
fingers.
there, because my Auntie Marion had tried in vain to teach me the piano. My Auntie Marion was a concert soprano. My uncle was a concert violinist. They were classical music, and she had given me little piano lessons when I was really young. I think I was like da 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 da. It was like a little bit here then fly, really simple little songs. Not even up to chopsticks. I didn't get that far, but so I sat there. I think that's what I was doing was baby bye. I was like, so my fingers were at least on the keys in the right places. So like an attempt was made. But yes, all of our performing of musical instruments was beautiful studio music by professional studio musicians pumped in, including yes, Pa playing the fiddle. I know everyone watched Pa play the
Oh,
fiddle. And,
really?
oh, Pa's playing the fiddle by the fire. Michael Landon, one of his millions of incredible skills was not playing the violin.
Huh.
That was not on the list of he could direct, he could produce, he could write. He couldn't play the violin, and he would fake it. And if you don't play the violin and you're hearing the fantastic David Rose compositions played by some incredible studio violinist, and you're just seeing the flickering firelight, and you go, yes. Everyone who actually plays the violin or had serious violin lessons at any point as a kid is watching the show going, oh, not again, and laughing.
Uh-huh.
Because apparently he's not even holding it correctly.
Well, that's what I've always wondered. Like a guitarist, violinist, whatever. The true musicians, they can tell. They're like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not what you
Yeah,
do.
you go on Facebook and people go, "I'm sorry, I took the violin in junior high. That's not even like where you put your fingers. I what is he even trying to know?"
They would know me right away. I can do air guitar, and that's it. I
Yeah, yeah. He's
don't know
playing
how
air
to do
violin. Michael was the world's greatest air violin.
So speaking of the cast, so Michael Landon and everybody else,
Mhm.
did you all get along? I mean, when you throw people together so quickly like that and expect everybody to be friends, it gets hard sometimes because you have all these different personalities. But for the most part, yes.
Oh yeah, for the most part. I mean, there were times. I mean, okay, me, Melissa Gilbert, Melissa Sue Anderson. You took three tween
Yeah.
teenage girls and locked them in a soundstage together for 7 years.
Right.
What could go wrong? Um, anyone who's dealt with girls sort of heard it. But the fact that we didn't murder each other is amazing. We got along really well. And the funniest part is the person I'm supposed to hate the most
Mhm.
was the person I liked best. It was
Ah,
me and Melissa Gilbert hit it off right away, and we became besties, and we're still really close. We're like texting each other. It's crazy. And that's why they didn't even have stunt girls by this time. I think we had stunt girl when I first had to fall. But for this fight scene,
mhm.
we had no stunts and they didn't even choreograph the fight scene. They said, "Oh, you guys got it. Fine, go ahead." And Melissa's even said, "I think we could go further in our fight scenes because they knew we weren't going to hurt each other. We could just kind of go nuts because we were friends." So it was like, "Okay, I'm going to throw you this way. Okay, got it." And although she did, you can see there's mud in my teeth,
Yes.
got me in a headlock and her hand comes around, a big ball of mud she shoves in my mouth. So, the
Here's
set
a mud
medic
pie for
yeah,
you.
set doctor's like, "Did you get any in your eye?" My eye? Dude, I just ate like a quart.
Any so looking back at that time period, what are your fondest memories and any behind the scenes things that are just absolutely hilarious that we wouldn't have known about?
So crazy. Well, I mean, 7 years. It was amazing. It was a mind-blowing time. Everything was very sort of intense, and so when I look back now, I have some very vivid memories because it's just, like, burned into my brain. It's like, I did that for 7 years? Wow." And it was such a weird and such a formative period from 12 to 19,
Right?
and every few days, I'm going off to this set to go put on a wig and go be Nellie Oleson. It's a
Yeah, and right there, I think it's hilarious. I heard that that's the biggest question you get. I'm like, that's the biggest question. Was that a wig? Really?
They tried. They tried to curl my hair, but as you see, my hair's quite not curly. They tried to curl my hair for a couple of months. Like if you're a hardcore fan, go watch Country Girls and like Town Party Country Parties for a few, and you can watch my ringlets sort of wilt in the heat as they go bloop. Like, okay, there, yeah, it's totally my hair. Look at the frail little bangs, and those poor curls. But it just wasn't working. So they said, okay, we can't go on like this. And I was 12 years old, sleeping in curlers and coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning to do all this. That's gorgeous. I just come out of the trailer, clearly there, so it's perfect. But by then it's a wig. They tried to do it and said we can't go on. So they had a wig made at great expense. Ziggy Geike, wig maker to the stars, who was still alive
Oh,
until just this January. I mean, he was old when I met him when I was 12, and I was like, Ziggy Geike's still alive. Um, Wig maker to the stars, and it was gorgeous, 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 but very uncomfortable because it had to stay on during rolling around on the ground, fight scenes, going down hills in wheelchairs, mud fights.
uh-huh.
So they had a big metal comb that like came in here. So it was like, "Ugh," and then I don't know how many hairpins. That's just that they had. That's how do you keep a wig? Most of the time you wear a wig, it's for a couple of hours.
Right.
A part of your event. This thing had to stay on for 9 hours
Oh no.
and make it through wind, sun, being knocked to the ground, rolling around on the floor, jumping in mud puddles, going down, being in a pond, and not come off.
Did you have
So that
cuts in your head?
it kinda hurt.
Yeah,
And so the
I
end of the
know.
day, the hairdresser, she was so kind, Gladys and Larry were both so nice to me, but she'd take it off and I'd be like, "Whoa," she would massage my scalp, she had sea breeze. But sometimes I would do this and because it would get pulled on with all those metal things, and I would go, "Am I bleeding? Is that just like flecks of blood?" Yikes, because it would cut up my scalp.
I would think
So
so.
yeah, it's nasty.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with the lovely Alison Arngrim. And I say lovely, not the bully, but we are going to talk about her book, her one woman show. And then we'll go a little bit more serious. We'll talk about some things that happened to Alison when she was younger and why she's such a big activist and an advocate for children being taken care of. We'll discuss all of that. And I want you to look at your calendar. I would love for you to be there February 16th through the 18th. Again, it is the Working Women's Show at the St. Charles Convention Center. She will be there. Actually, there's several opportunities for you to meet Allison on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a really cool chef's table, so we'll talk about cooking. And then the book, I'm super thrilled that I get a chance to bring her out on stage, on the main stage on Saturday. So we'll discuss so much more with Allison when we return.
Cool.
We need women to lift women up.
Let's do that.
Being on Monica's show, it was like one of the best interviews I've ever had.
Monica's very real, and she really cares about people.
She's changing lives.
Changing lives.
I think this is just really what people want to see.
Giving back so much to the community, and I really appreciate it.
Today, Monica was extraordinarily real, not only with me, but with her viewers and her listeners.
Made the interview process like talking to a friend.
How are you doing? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a few weeks.
Hey. You're close.
Monica. Whoa.
So go out in this world and be anything you want to be. But before you do that, first, be kind.
Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovair Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willie offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovair Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovairhealth.com. Welcome back once again, The Real Monica Adams Show. So thrilled to have you as part of our show. As you are seeing, please share and like and follow our live stream. And just a special thanks to everybody that has been watching the show since we launched it last year. And of course, to all of our wonderful sponsors. We couldn't do this without you. We've been visiting with the lovely Alison Arngrim-Nellie Oelson from Little House on the Prairie. And as you have been talking about, I still can't wrap my brain around the fact that it's been 50 years. Where does time go? Should we talk about, again, becoming a young child actor and just how different life feels with all of that? You have a book out as well as your show that you do. And it's so funny, Allison, over the last couple of weeks, as I've been saying that you were going to be on the show, I kept saying, this is the name of it. I apologize for saying this, but I have to tell them the name of your book.
My book, and often on talk shows, they'll say, could you say the name of your book? Because our bosses at this network won't let us say the name of your book. And I have to tell you, when I went to HarperCollins publisher and I said, any trouble with the title? They were like, best title anybody's brought in all week.
Agreed.
My title is because people called me this, not my fault. Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, How I Survived Nellie Oleson and Learned to Love Being Hated.
I mean, seriously, everywhere you went, people probably called you that. You're a bully, you're this. And it's the actress playing a part. But there are so many people that the lines are so blurred that they think that that's you. And that's every actor and actress that plays a bully.
But if you're good, I mean, it's every actor's dream. Actors are always saying, I want the audience to suspend all disbelief. I want them to be sucked into the story and believe this is really happening. I want them to not even see me, the actor, to only see the character. Yeah, well, good luck when that happens. Because apparently I pulled this off because people are calling me Nellie like it's my name. It's been 50 years, people. No, I just like recently at the theater, I was doing my one-woman show in Sierra Madre, and then one woman was just like, Nellie, oh God, I'm sorry. And I was like, whoa, people still do that. And then the believing that I'm being afraid of me, believing is real. I have to admit, there's once or twice I've done it myself. I mean, I'm a fan of villains. I always love the villains in shows and everything. I was literally emailing a friend last night because she was talking about she possibly winding up had big audition for a show that I like. And I was like, oh my God, so-and-so's great. I love him. I love him. If you get the show, you have to say hi to him. But there was an actor and he'd had a previous role on another show ages ago where he was scary. He was bad. He was very, but he was like really creepy. And I said, I'm so glad he's on the show because he's playing a nice person. And I, of all the people on the earth who would know that it ain't real, when he played this other character, he scared the Jesus out of me. I remember the time saying, if I got on an elevator and he got on, I would like climb up out through the ceiling hatch. And and of all people, I know he's a perfectly nice guy. He's completely playing a part, but like he nailed it. He nailed it. I mean, I would just cross the street if I saw him coming. And now, thank God, he's playing someone nice. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, but like, I knew it wasn't real, and he creeped me out. So there's people who are that good.
Yep.
But it, as I always say, it takes talent to scare the crap out of people. And so yeah, there's people who scared me. There's people I've seen in movies going, that is so incredibly. I'm freaked out by you, and I know it's not. So I'm always impressed. So it can scare
Well, you
me.
obviously carried that out. I mean, for you to think from 11 years old, playing the role, 7 years, people believing that, and then all these years later, having a one-woman show, having the book, and saying, well, I'm going to play off this because my whole life people called me this.
It's the you can't beat them, join them philosophy.
That's a good point.
It was so crazy because, like, when I started the show, it's like, oh, great, I'm the villain. How cool, wonderful. I was a kid. I liked Vincent Price movies. I'm like, I'm bad. I'm the evil queen. What fun. I say all these terrible things. Oh, this is hilarious. And of course, since Melissa Gilbert and I became friends right away, she didn't mind. She thought it was a hoot too. It's like, oh, this is hysterical. You're going to tell me my paw smells like a horse? Who says this? And so we thought this was dreadfully funny, picking on her. So she's not really that episode when I pick on the poor stuttering girl. I'm pleased to say that Katie Kurtzman, who does not stutter and went on to be on Hotel and many other shows, has forgiven me, and we're friends now. But I mean, there were things that we thought the last time to be shooting it, go, oh, this is sort of hilarious. Such this awful because it's so. And my friends were like, how is that you? You're like shy. You were like the shy kid at school. You get beat up by bullies. Why? How are you this person? So we thought it was a hoot. But then people started watching it. And next thing, people going nuts. I had someone throw a McDonald's cup of orange soda at my head during a parade. Christmas.
Oh my gosh. You're supposed to be even kinder in that season.
Right? Who does this? And I'm like, how American whack. And I joke about it in my act. I go, well, thank heavens it wasn't a beer bottle. But then I said, it was half full. There's like $1.75 of soda left. Someone. So I must be really good. This is so crazy. I had little girls tried to beat me up. It was really, and I had people who just like freaked out on site. I had people who said, my friend wants to meet you, but she's terrified. I had a very seemingly sane, an actor who totally knew better. I was doing a play. And he said, okay, I have to talk to you before. I was 9 and watched a show, and you were this big, tall, scary girl, and I was terrified of you as a child. I had nightmares that you were going to come get me.
Really?
Difficult to do this show with you. I mean, I realize it's not you, but can we hang out for a couple hours so I can get the spell off because I was so freaked out by you as a child. I almost can't do the show. I was like, good God. But then he had me call his sister and say, brown eggs are still 3 cents less a dozen. It was grown people. And this kind of was like, what is even happening? And I was like, wow. But then it occurred to me, I thought, they're not coming up to me and, I mean, it would be nice. They're not coming up to me and saying, you're a great actress. They're coming up to me and going, I hate you.
But that means you were a great actress because you made us believe that you really were like that.
What am I doing? Right. There was the woman at the autograph shop, grown-up lady, and this is years after, it must have been 30 years after the show. And she just walked right up to me. She didn't say good morning. She didn't say anything. She walked right up to me and said, I forgive you, and walked out.
Thanks, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my husband was like, my husband said, was that for everything you've done? I mean, just,
exactly.
So people really, I think Little House on the Prairie, very emotional show. Yes. We watched the shows. We saw people cry. People died. Babies were born. It was all major life events. People suspended all disbelief and were pulled into it. And that's great if you're Laura. But they were being pulled into it. And I think the characters, the way they were written, the way Michael was writing the episodes and the other writers and the way they was directed was realistic emotionally in a way that people said, wait, this is what happened to me at school, that this is exactly like that girl. And they and it hit a nerve and it's, it's an honor. I mean, I'm very honored. When people say I hated you so much, I say, thank you.
Exactly. And normally in life you wouldn't say that, but in this, you Yeah.
Well, that's
Yes.
why I did the book. Loved being hated because
Yes.
what happened is I realized it wasn't going away. The typecasting, it just wasn't. I thought, well, like, what do I get? Plastic surgery, move to another country? Oh, it shows in every country. Oh, well. And so I went, well, wait, how can I take this thing that didn't go away and turn it upside down and inside out so it benefits me
Right.
and makes them benefits them, so the fans can be happy and wait, I could be happy. How do I turn it around so then I can say, okay, that was it, but this is me. Here, let's meet each other. Now you know me. Okay, we can still have this, but now you know me. How can we make that work? And through stand-up comedy and through my writing, I was able to do that, which is really, it's a heck of a trick, I think.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, as you can see on the screen, Alison Arngrim, you remember as Nellie Oleson on Little House on the Prairie. Again, Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, How I Survived Nellie Oleson and Learned to Love Being Hated. You'll hear all about this when she's on the stage, February 16th, 17th, 18th. Opportunities for VIP tickets, by the way, an opportunity for meet and greets. And then we'll get into the cooking in just a second. But one of the things that I really love is how precious you see children. I'm so glad we're talking about bullying because, bullying has existed, well, with all mankind in some way. I'm sure if we go back centuries and centuries, everybody will say, well, that was bullying. It looks so different. And now it's escalated with social media. We're seeing children committing suicide. I hate to go to the darkness, but we have to find light out of the darkness sometimes. You talked in some talks, and people may not have known this, of what you went through when you were younger, and now you said you proudly are an activist because of what you've seen and what you've gone through and how you are trying to protect children. So give us a little bit about that and how you're trying to help kids today.
Well, it's true. Absolutely. Bullying and sadly child abuse have existed, back in the Stone Age, Og came home from school and said, help, I've been bullied. There's always been people who just get their jollies being cruel to people who are weaker and less able to defend themselves. It's sad, but it exists. And I got a double whammy. I was abused as a child. I suffered sexual abuse and physical abuse as a very young girl. And then at school, I was shorter than everybody else. I was kind of nerdy and bookish and weird. I was bad at sports. I talked funny. I actually had to go to speech class. That's why, picking on that stutterer episode. I didn't like that because when I was little, I couldn't quite say the letter S, and I had to go to speech class after school and learn to say the letter S. Sounds like this. I was like, oh, it's not TH. But there you go. So I was hardly making fun of stutterers. So I was that kind of kid. And so the larger, tougher, meaner kids who went like, where's the little caribou that's falling behind the herd? They went for me. And absolutely, I wasn't Nellie Oleson yet. I was just that strange little skinny blonde girl. So I got clobbered, and I got picked on. I got clobbered, and I got. I don't know. There was this girl who always liked to put everybody's head in the toilet in the girls' room. I'm not sure why she found that a sport, but that was it. I did get rescued though, because there are always people out there. You have to find them who are good. And there were these two girls who were terribly tall for their grade. This is elementary school. They were super tall, and they had gotten picked on for being tall, but being tall, what was anybody going to do about it? And they had made it their quest to go defend smaller children who were getting hassled. And they just they like leaned over the stall. We're like, yeah, put her down. I was like, who are you?
So they're my angels.
Who are these enormous girls, and why are they staying? I don't even know them. And they're like, yeah, we got to try to stop this stuff. I'm like, great, follow me around. Then there's plenty. So it was not going well. And I was shy. People say, you're shy, right? No, I was shy as a kid. I could hardly talk to people. And so that's why it was so crazy. I get this part. And I'm the bully, and I'm like picking on the shy kid. I'm like, what is happening?
Did you use what you went through though with again the abuse, incest, things that happened to you? Do you take that for material in who you become?
Absolutely, I did. I took like that's the thing. When you're abused as a child, there's a lot of anger and rage that stays with you. And that's one of the things that psychologists and when people go to therapy, they talk about that you have all this misplaced rage. So I was able to use that. Like I said, the yelling and screaming and throwing things was so therapeutic. And actually, my therapist like, yeah, actually, that's probably pretty good for you. And so there was that. And then all the wonderful people on the show who were treating me rather kindly and with respect was a lovely thing to have happen. And then because I was playing this scary person, I would go to events or parties and everyone would sort of back up and not talk to me right away, which for me was great because usually I'd go to thing, I go, I don't have to talk to anybody. Who's the first person I got to talk to? I don't have to say anything. And I would sort of cringe. But now I got like a few minutes reprieve because they didn't want to come near me. It's like, I always say, it's like, those animals or bugs and things, they try to pretend to look like a more dangerous animal in the wild to not get eaten.
Yeah.
This is me. This is me and Nellie Oleson. Nellie Oleson was the animal I was pretending to be to not get eaten in the jungle. And it really worked. And it was so good. But yeah, absolutely. Many years of therapy and difficulty because you can't do it by yourself. Find somebody to talk to if this happened to you. And over the years, I've done a lot of stuff for a lot of different charities and a lot of different activism because I just think we're generally, if you're here on Earth, perhaps you should be helping people and not just sucking up oxygen. Crazy idea. Maybe we're here to help others. And so I've always tried to do stuff. And then I got a call, hey, we're doing this thing. And they said, okay, we've got people trying to help abused children in all different ways, but we're looking at a whole like legal and legislative thing because they said we're seeing these in crazy situations where they've arrested the predator and they got him and they went to trial and he got convicted. And I'm like, great. And then he went home. Wait, what? I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
Oh, with the kid. I mean, what? And they said, well, they passed all these laws in the 70s, raising the penalties for serious child abuse and all this clever stuff and went great. And then they put in an exception, as you said, the incest exception. And this was that if you sexually abuse the child next door, perhaps you would get 20 years. But if it was your own child, and they even said like a relative living in the home, so what everybody, I don't know what that means, but a relative, you would be eligible for a special package involving no jail time and sometimes no record. We talk now, people are registered sex offenders. They have records you can look up. What you're not allowed to go like teach or if you are obviously no, but under this law, you could have been convicted of abusing multiple children and have absolutely no record and go open a daycare center. It's like, whoa, how is that? Yeah. And so they said, yeah, we don't think it's a good idea either. So we're changing it. Yes, I'm in. And we changed it in multiple states. And I testified in the Senate in Sacramento, and I went to New York. And we changed. We actually had a couple of states after a bit of this call us and go, what? We're looking it up now. We're going to go change the law because we don't want you people to come over here after we saw what you did to those people in California, New York. We'll do it now. And we did change. And then we did stuff at the federal level because amongst, from police, so there's a special division of the police in most cities called ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. And these are the people who look for the abuse images, the child pornography, the trafficking of children, all this stuff that's happening on the web. These are the cops who specifically are trained in forensics, et cetera, to do that. And these guys are amazing. So we talked to them and they said, we're kind of underfunded and undermanned and outgunned and tech. And we got technology for them. We had a thing called the Weiss Center for Child Rescue Technologists. We got them some tech. We went to Washington and said, well, what's their budget? Oh, how about you raise that then?
Yeah. Thank you.
Got more cash for their job. And then we got them more people. And that's where we had a crazy thing at Protect, the Hero Corps program, where we trained like hundreds of people. And they were often, we got veterans who were coming back from Iran, Afghanistan, and were perhaps injured, couldn't go back to their old job, but they could be trained to apprentice to the ICAC team. So we had the cops come in and we had a very official training and forensics and everything. And then they wound up working at ICAC, giving them more manpower to go arrest these people. So we got them cash and tech and people. And it worked. It really did increase arrests. It was a wonderful thing.
Thank you for what you're doing. And anyone that's been through anything like this, obviously thanking you and everyone that is giving them a voice. And, there's a lot on this show, Allison, that we talk about that people, if they start crying and they're like, Monica, I thought you were talking about my life. And I said, I'm sure I am, because in some way we've all been through really tough times, and some people escalate beyond that, but it doesn't say that yours is any less if you're hurting from it. So what can you say to all that's listening to you right now that have been through any form of abuse, any form of being bullied? Maybe they still are. Maybe they're still in the middle of it. How do they ever, and I'm going to ask you because you had to, how can they ever, and how did you trust again?
Well, I mean, as you said, that the different abuse, and it doesn't matter what it is. Yeah, there's not a pain Olympics.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You're not going to win or lose. Well, this person's suffering was greater than yours, or yours greater. There's no met. They don't have a first and second place. There's no ranking. And many people have terrible things happen to them and are doing pretty well. And many people have smaller things or shorter duration and are really hurt more by it. You don't know your individual system. But yes, different things can still hurt very badly. And it's so, it's not you, is what your first thing is. It's them. If it wasn't you, they'd have picked somebody else. This is a shocking thing to learn, because the bullies always, they say it's you. They say it's you. They say they're not bullies. No, it's you. There's something the matter with you that they decided to pick on you. Absolutely not. If you weren't at school that day, they'd have gone, well, we'll go hassle them. They probably have multiple people they're bothering. It is not you. It is, you are a breathing, warm body target. And sadly, with abuse, even child sexual abuse, it ain't you. You were home.
Right.
You were in the building. That is your crime. You were in the building. So yeah, it's not you. If it wasn't you, they'd have gone for somebody else. Which is a horrible thing to swallow, but it's true. So then there's that, and then getting out of that, it's knowing it's like it's a them problem for starter, a you problem. But now they've gone and made it your problem.
Yeah.
And so it does hurt you, and to understand that it really does hurt physically. You may say, well, this is just memories in my head. It's just how I feel. I should be able to. No, they now know that things that happen to you when you're very young, they can alter neural pathways and actual synapses in your brain. They can change your body chemistry. They're talking about trauma and cortisol levels and all this very complicated, fancy medical speak. But that, yes, having terrible, terrible trauma and emotional fluctuation does cause physical changes in your brain and body, and that's not fun. But you can get better. It can get better. But understand that it may take a while, and it's not just in your head. It is actually all through your body, and you're not imagining that. And give yourself some slack. Absolutely talk to someone. Find a professional you like. If you say, well, I don't have a therapist, I don't know, is there someone at your church? Is there somebody you have who do you have? And talk to somebody. There's free therapy groups. There's 12-step programs that address abuse issues. Yep. Just call somebody. Don't try to do it all by yourself. That's way too hard. You've already done enough hard stuff staying alive and breathing. So cut yourself some slack and let somebody else help you.
Yes.
To say trust, I know absolutely. I would say 90% of people, I probably trust them as far as I can throw them. But I'm not terrified. I'm not terrified. And obviously there are people, like I've been married for 30 years, so I guess I must trust him. I keep letting him back in the house.
Who's that man at the door?
Who is he? Can you come in? I don't know. Can I see some ID? But that feeling of like, oh no, when's the other shoe going to drop? Now what? What's going to happen? It's not having to live with that anymore is a really nice feeling.
Well, and I'm so glad, and we can't say it enough, that don't go at it alone. And there is a way to start to take those steps. Again, please find someone to help you. If it is a therapist, a counselor, etc. There's a coach, there's a life coach. Maybe you do it simultaneously. And then your trust, right? You have that circle, I hope, because you want to try to get out of that pain and not continue to give power to the abuse, power to the bullying. We want to take you out of that. That's really what this show is about. So Allison, I'm so glad you were candid and authentic about that. Okay, let's go back into February 16th, 17th, 18th.
Yes, all weekend. And all weekend. There's a thing like Friday, there's some VIP meet thing, I think it's afternoon, and then Saturday, like all day. And I have a thing on stage in the afternoon. It's 1, it's 2, I'm not sure, but it's on the schedule somewhere. But I will be speaking on the main stage, and yes I will be taking questions. Big Q&A, and I have my book, and I have 8x10s and photos and swag that I will sell and autograph and whatnot. And then we're gonna fool around in the kitchen because, as you know, Nellie can't cook, but I can.
That's it. What?
Oh, this is so okay. People
Who's doing the cooking?
so
She
much.
is.
They believed it so much. I would invite people for dinner, and they would look at me and go, "Are we ordering in?" And yeah, and because they did, I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then my friends who really knew me would go, "Wait, what? Oh, good heavens! No, of course she can. She's been cooking since she was 5. What is wrong?"
Allison, did they think that you ordered and then put it in containers and acted like you made it?
Oh, they were sure I had Laura hiding in the kitchen working for me. How can I saw her on TV. I'm not letting her cook for me. And my close friends were like, "Are you crazy? Have you had one of her Thanksgiving turkeys?" Clearly, you have not. Because no, I've been cooking since I was a kid, and I make amazing food. My Thanksgiving turkey is renowned. I'm just saying, it's the moistest turkey in
What's the
town.
secret?
Kitchen Bouquet. Have you ever used that stuff?
No.
Freaking amazing. Get a bottle of
Really?
Kitchen Bouquet and a lot of tin foil. Telling you. But you gotta baste, you gotta stuff it, you gotta make the stuffing moist, you gotta baste it, you kitchen bouquet, and then a big tent of foil. You don't have to have a dry turkey. You just don't. You can still.
No,
And
there's
my father
nothing
taught
about
me.
a dry turkey that should ever be served.
Oh
Yuck.
God, yeah, my father taught me. And so I cook a lot of stuff. And there's videos on YouTube now. It's the Who's Going to Do the Cooking with Alison Arngrim, because of course
She
Nellie
is.
was like, "Who's going to do the cooking?" And I am, because I like cooking. So we're doing a thing. We're going to do a thing there at the convention where there's a main stage, and there's one of your fabulous celebrity chefs who's working the thing. They asked me. They said, "Could you what do you think you should make?" And I said, "I don't know." And then they went, "Could you could you make the cinnamon chicken like on the show?" Yes, we can make the cinnamon chicken like on the last. So we're making cinnamon chicken. I had to send the recipe on ahead and how much like flour and cinnamon to get. Because yes, we're gonna totally do cinnamon chicken.
Okay, I cannot wait to taste that.
Totally good.
Before we wrap up, so what are your absolute staples, favorites that you make for you, for your husband, for your family?
Weirdly, as an Irish girl, I make great Italian food. My husband's half Sicilian, and I've always liked just, pasta, spaghetti. But I was taught like a really great lasagna recipe years ago. And what the funny thing is, when we got married, and he called his parents. He's getting married. They were so happy he was getting married. He was like the last kid to get married. They're like thrilled he's getting married. And then like, what does she do? Oh, she's an actress. Oh, she's been in anything we might have seen. Little House on the Prairie. No, that's fantastic. Who'd she play? He says, Nellie Oelson. It was like the phone went dead. Is it the worst, longest, deadly silence you ever heard? She's not like she was on the show. So they were slightly horrified at first. And then he's like, no, she's great. They came out right before the wedding. And it's like, how many, your mom and your dad and your brother and his wife and your sister and then 2 of their kids. Wait, how many people are coming? And I said, oh, honey, if they eat like you, I'll have nothing left in the house. What am I going to do? So I made spaghetti and a lovely sauce, and I made my turkey meatballs. Because I don't even eat the red meat, so I made turkey meatball. But you don't know, you can't even tell when I made something. They not only ate like everything in the plate it came on, they actually said, not since Grandma Scafidi from Sicily have we had such a meatball.
Oh,
I tell you, I'm Irish Scottish. I have no idea where this crazy Italian thing's coming from. But yes, absolutely, lasagna, stuffed shells, spaghetti meatballs, all that kind of. I totally rock that and love doing that one. I have a couple of chicken things that people really like. When we see rock Cornish game hens in the store, we think, well, we must roast them. We must make the fancy stuffing with like the wild rice, and we have to roast them. And you can, and that's great. But you don't have to.
Oh,
get a mess of them. Get a mess of them chickens. I'm all about simplicity. I'm all about, here's how easy you can make this. You get these chickens, and you get some lemons and some garlic cloves and some spices and like some one of them fancy flavored balsamic vinegar, some oil. You take the chickens and you stuff them, but you don't stuff them. You just shove some garlic and some cilantro, what have you, and half a lemon in there. And then you pour like a mixture of like olive oil and spices and lemon juice over the whole thing. And then you put them in the oven on fairly high. It shouldn't take more than half an hour. You just cook the heck out of them. And when they're just falling apart, you yank them out of the oven and you hack them all in half. Get a big knife or a meat cleaver, one of them Ginsu knives. Just cut them in half and lay them all out on a platter and serve them with mashed potatoes or whatever. Well, it is the easiest thing to make and is absolutely fantastic. And it's Cornish game hens, but it's absolutely hardly any work at all. And people will devour them. So yeah, I have a bunch of stuff like that. I get texts from my husband's family. Can Auntie Allison tell me how to make the chicken thing? It's so I have a bunch of recipes and they're all insanely simple, which is if you go to my YouTube thing and watch it, you'll see it's like I'm like, this is how hard this is. Not. Hello.
Right.
And
Well,
so easy and delicious.
we're all so busy. I mean, I heard my sister-in-law, who is a phenomenal cook, she was saying just the other night, she's like, Monica, I'm seeing all these younger kids and, they're in their late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, 30s. She's like, none of them want to cook anymore. What's going to happen in this world? Nobody's cooking for
We're all
each
going to
other.
starve to death. Nobody can cook. Yeah, and I just made shepherd's pie the other night, like on a whim. And my husband's like, you just suddenly decided to make shepherd's pie from scratch. Sure.
So
And I can do things from scratch, but even then,
over baking,
simple.
Cooking over baking.
I don't know. Yeah, now I do like the baking, and I had a whole conversation with this about a friend who cooked, and they said, cooking, you can get away with more. There's more improv. You can make things up. Baking, you gotta follow some of the instructions. Baking is chemistry because there's baking powder or yeast or things that you have to actually have so much egg or so much sugar. The texture of the thing will just, you can't just decide to replace a bunch of ingredients randomly when you're baking. You will not have a cake. So people who will not follow instructions do really well cooking on top of the stove.
I prefer cooking over baking. It's probably that reason exactly. No, I want to change something.
Yes. You can totally replace it and change it up. But I do like the baking because I've actually found ways even like, okay, following the recipe, but what if I add?
Yeah.
And I've done stuff where I was able to add things.
Oh, you're like the evil scientist.
Yeah, I'm mad scientist in the kitchen. I'm completely
She's back, mad, evil Nellie. Allison, you are a pleasure. Allison Arngrim, again, February 16th, 17th, 18th. She is the celebrity coming in for the Working Women's Show, and we gave away some tickets, some single tickets, but here's the exciting thing. We're going to give you an opportunity to go to the VIP that you're going to have an opportunity to purchase tickets to, but we're going to give an opportunity for you to win. And there's also actually two opportunities we're going to do. One is we're going to choose from all of the people who register on our site. So go to TheRealMonicaAdams.com. And then on the page, you will see an opportunity just to fill out your name and your email address. And I'm just going to take from the emails and we're going to pull and we're going to give 2 VIP tickets away. But then there's also an opportunity that we'll be telling you about of how if you purchase tickets and just go to for like single tickets for you and a girlfriend or your mom, sister, whoever, that you'll get another opportunity to do so. So maybe you go multiple days of it. I'm going to tell you right now, Allison, there are women who have been going for years, and this is almost 40 years that it's been going on in St. Louis. Girls love this. Why? We just get together, laugh all day. They have samples of food. They hear inspirational people speaking, and then there's like happy hour because there's samples of drinks. I mean, what else could you want? It's just a great time for women.
Samples. I love these conferences when they have makeup samples. I'm all about makeup samples. Yeah.
You would love. I did. Okay, you ready for this? Because you didn't get a chance to hear this. I did a makeup tutorial with the girl who does my makeup for different events. And she gave us a tip that made me laugh harder than I've laughed in years. Do you know the tip about what color we should wear on our lips?
Oh, that changes everything. No, you must never wear pink. No, don't wear dark. No, don't. What is the tip?
Do you know what it is? And
wait. Does it have to match something?
Yes. What is it?
Yes. Oh, no. There was a guy who has crazy videos where he makes these costumes, and in a couple of them he was shirtless, and he said, your lips have to match.
You at least knew, Allison. She caught me so off guard. I lost it. I was laughing so hard. So then I ended up going in because she was saying, you don't have to spend an exorbitant amount of money on your makeup. You could even run into Walgreens. So I went to Walgreens and I did a quick clip for her. And I said, I'm in here now. And I went like this. And I said, I need to go to the bathroom and see what color I am.
I know. I'm looking at my lipstick going,
So she's like, I do not encourage you to whip them out in the store.
If you're looking for a natural look, because that means it's a color your body would produce elsewhere.
Yes, exactly. See, there's the tip in case you missed it.
It's very logical. It's true. I mean, I think for certain occasions you can obviously go hot pink or plum or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Or very, very bright red. Somebody said, well, Taylor Swift does not have.
I would hope. I hope they don't match. That would seem painful. if they're that color, honey, see a doctor.
Exactly. Something is way wrong there,
to-
girl.
To match because it's your body coloring.
You're
Crazy,
bleeding.
crazy but true. Crazy but true.
Oh my God, Allison, we're going to have so much fun together. I can't wait. So again, I will be there. Actually, I'm going to be there on Friday and Saturday. We'll have a booth out there with a bunch of these, because when I walked away from television, I kept stressing this mantra. We all need to know this.
True.
Know your value. So we'll have some journals and different things out there. And then I will talk right before Allison does and bring her out on the main stage. And then stick around for the Q&A, because she'll have some fun with you. She'll inspire you and make you laugh, as you can see, the entire weekend long. Allison, you're a pleasure. Thank you so much for being a part.
Marvelous. Thank you.
You have been incredible. So once again, here we go. It is the Working Women's Show. I cannot believe it's almost 40 years. February 16th, 17th, and 18th. Again, Alison Arngrim, you knew her as Nellie Oelson 50 years ago, Little House on the Prairie. Stay with us. We're going to do the wrap up of the show. Once again, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks. Invida Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Invida isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Invida can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Invida take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online InvidaHealthandWellness.com. Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Welcome back again, The Real Monica Adams Show. What a pleasure she was, Alison Arngrim. Again, I hope we can see you out there. Purchase your tickets. They're on sale right now. You can go online and you can buy your single tickets, or you can buy those VIP tickets. And how much fun would that be? A little meet and greet. I'm actually going to be there for her as well. Meet and greet with myself and with Allison. We're going to have a blast with you all weekend long. If you've never been, boy, are you in for an incredible weekend. As I said, you're going to want to come back day after day after day. A lot of you have been asking for these journals, so I'll show you the little mock-up that we've been showing over you over the last couple of weeks. Couple things that we will have out there for you. These, and I know you all want that color blue, that Monica blue that we've been talking about, that cobalt blue. So there's the journals, and then here's a little mock-up of the jackets. We've got blue, we've got some black, and then there's that gorgeous pink as well. I will have them out there for you at the Working Women's Show, and then also on our website. Thank you again so much, each and every one of you, for being a part of today's show. We had such a blast. I hope you laughed. Maybe you cried a little bit. Maybe, again, we took you on a bevy of emotions, but that's what the show is all about. Finding the light in some of the hardest parts of darkness. Thank you again. Please share and like and follow our stream, and the platforms keep growing and growing. Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube, and then all of the audio podcast platforms. Thank you so much again for being a part of today's show. And as I always tell you, go out, be anything you want to be in this world. But before you're anything, please be kind. God bless you all.